Hey everybody, welcome back to the Kit Cave. So back with you again for another update on this build series of the AMT ERTL 1400 scale USS Enterprise D. So jumping straight in again, thank you everybody that's posted comments and likes for the videos that I've been popping up onto YouTube. Again, as I always say, it is very much appreciated to see the likes and the comments from people. I do reply as quickly as I can to any comments. And again, thank you for people that have made any recommendations. I always look forward to seeing constructive feedback, positive and negative. It's always good stuff. Always good to learn from. Anyway, stop rambling. Get on with it, Steve. So yeah, back with you again. Just another quick update. As we can clearly see here, I'm still working on the electronic side of this build. I wanted to get the electronics kind of sussed out first before I started doing anything to the model kit itself. This weekend I've been tinkering around a lot with Arduino, looking at the sketches. I've been, again, over the last week and certainly this weekend and even last night, watching videos and tutorials and reading up all about Arduino coding and writing code and understanding what all the little symbols are meaning and if statements and else statements and all that kind of thing. And I kind of, Saturday made my brain hurt a little bit trying to understand it all, but it kind of all clicked a little bit last night. So where I am progress-wise, again, sorry for the poor camera angle here, I am going to pick up the camera. I've been working on the phaser strip and the phaser effect firing sequence. So this is originally, as I mentioned on the first video, the original sketch, the code was posted by a young lady known as Jennifer Petkus. The link can be found in the descriptions of the videos below if anybody wants to source that code. And I had it all up and running and working. Now, interestingly, on the last video, when I showed the lighting effect working, it was running on a continuous loop, and the button didn't seem to actually do anything, even though there was a button code put into the sketch. I took apart the breadboard and I did a little experiment and a little test on another little sequence. I can't remember what it was. I can't remember what I did. But again, I was just doing a little tutorial, and then when I built the circuit, put the circuit back together, nothing worked. Nothing worked. The lights wouldn't come on as it did before. So I went back, checked all the connections. That was all fine. All the power was hooked up, absolutely fine. Long story short, it turned out it was the switch. And when I took the switch out of the board, took the switch out over here, all I did with the switch is I literally rotated the switch around so that the pins on each side kind of came round opposite to each other, reinserted it back into the board, pushed it down further and make sure it was there, and it all worked fine. But what actually then happened was it wasn't running on a continuous loop like it was before. The button was working correctly, so that the sequence activates on the button press, which is what I'm going to demonstrate now. As we can see here on the breadboard, yesterday I mocked up the SD card reader, and again, to do that I was following the tutorial that was posted on the playlist series by Trevor over on the YouTube channel Ostrich Longneck. And that's kind of what I've been doing, experimenting and going through the sequence to learn Arduino in that fashion. And I had it all up and running. Had a bit of an issue with that to begin with, bit of problems to sort out, which I'll go over in detail in a minute. But now it's all rigged up, and this morning I was then thinking about, right, okay, with the code that Jennifer had put together for the phaser firing sequence, what needed to be added to that was the sound effect. And I'm quite pleased with myself this morning, I've got to be honest, because I went to that after doing a lot of studying, a lot of reading, and a lot of understanding of coding. I've actually written in a little bit of code into that phaser firing sequence to make the sound effect work, and it worked. So I'm really chuffed with myself, really pleased this morning, because for somebody that has gone from 3 to 4 weeks ago having absolutely no knowledge of Arduino programming, coding, understanding, reading, writing code, to then suddenly being able to write, okay, it was a tiny little bit of code, it was literally an if statement, and that makes sense to experienced programmers. It was an if statement, so I wrote into the code, bang, and it's all working. So let me demonstrate here. Now the sound, you might not pick up on the sound quite quiet. This is just a tiny little speaker I had laying around the shop from a previous project from years ago, but as a mock-up template it works. So I'll play it, and the sound effect didn't come out, so that's a good start, and the sound effect's not coming out again. It seems to do that quite often. Come on, There we go. Now the sound effect is playing. I'll do that again. It seems to be how hard I'm pressing the button. I'll move the microphone closer to the speaker so you can actually hear it. There we go. So it's not the loudest of sound effect, but then it's just a little tiny speaker that I've got. I have ordered another speaker, a bit of a bigger one, to get some more sound out. But interestingly enough, I picked up on a little tip when I was watching a YouTube video yesterday, and here's a poor man's amplifier. Poor man's amplifier. Here it is, plastic bottle. Cut the bottom top off, place that over the top like that, and that actually amplifies the sound. So if I move the microphone over again, it's simply putting a plastic bottle over the speaker has amplified the sound, and it makes it go louder, interestingly enough. But there we go. That's something to figure out later on when I actually install this into the kit. But there we go. So that code is done. It's, and I've got some addressable LED strip here. That's a big long strip, 144 LEDs. It's a meter long, which is more than enough to go into the kit. And there we go. There's the sequence in time with the sound effect playing. Again, you probably can't hear it over me talking because of the speaker. But let me pop the microphone down next to the speaker again so that you can hear it. There we go. That seems to happen. I can press the button once and it doesn't run. I think I might have to install some debouncing code into this. It's quite intermittent. Sometimes it'll play, sometimes it won't. There we go. The sound effect has now stopped working. I don't quite know what's going on there. I'm going to wait for a couple of seconds. Now it's working. There we go. Again, so you can see there I pressed the button, but the sound effect didn't play. So I'm going to have to go back to the code and have a look at debugging that a little bit. Ooh. But there we go. You get the idea. So that is working. I'm really, really pleased about that. So next part for the code then is to take some of the sketches again that have been shared freely by Trevor over on Ostrich Longneck, which does all the torpedo firing and sound effects and the intro playing and all that kind of thing, and doing the warp mode effect for the refit Enterprise. So I'm going to look at that, tinker around with that code, and then it's a case of marrying up. It's just literally putting these two codes together for the phaser firing effect and other sound effects that Trevor has very kindly shared and put the effort into making on his sketches, to then have the working code ready to be uploaded into the Pro Mini. I am a little bit worried at this stage about the size of what the code's going to be ultimately. It might end up being, once it's all combined, well, I'm going to be cutting down on some of the bits that Trevor's done because it's not needed for the D. To see what the file size comes out like. But yeah, once it's all put together, it's going from there. And if I need to, then work to try and cut the code down a little bit. And that's probably where I'll need some help from an experienced coder. Initially, I was talking to somebody on Fiverr back last week about adding this sound effect really to this code. But now I've done it for myself, which I'm quite pleased about. But interestingly enough, the guy on Fiverr was a very, very nice chap. He said he was going to go away and have a look at this code and see what he could do modifications wise as I requested, and as yet I've heard nothing back from him. But anyway, probably not now needed because I've just done it for myself. But there we go. So that's all up and running. That's all working. I'm really pleased with that now. What else I've done this weekend? I'll just reposition my microphone. I do apologise. There we go. So yeah, yeah, very happy with that. So I'm a happy camper. Got it working. Okay, let's just turn all this off a minute. Unplug that, just to be on the safe side. So what else I did as well? I mean, this was yesterday when I sat down, and this is kind of a process. When I'm trying to learn something new and I get a little bit stuck on something, I have to leave it, go away. I have to sit on it and I have to think it over in my head, process information. But to help me to do that, I go and do something else. Go and fiddle around and tinker around with something else. Which is what I did yesterday, was tinkering around with this section now of the kit. I'll try to get this on camera. And again, this is the sacrificial piece, because I've got the, for motion picture miniatures, I've got this clear, the aftermarket kit. So this is the experimental bit. And of course, what I was experimenting on here was the process of getting the windows drilled and getting rid of these horrible bloody panel lines. So first of all, windows as an experiment. I'll try and get that on camera. I don't know if you can see how clear that is, but that's looking quite clean for a window drill out there. I've got to be honest, that's probably some of the cleanest windows I've ever drilled out on any model kit, to be fair. Same down the bottom here. These were other little experiments. You can see that was using rotary tool, as I've often done it in the past, and the same thing happened. They come out looking blobby and bloody horrible, not nice at all. So the process for that is quite straightforward. Simply, just to explain what I do with this, I get all my tools out so I can show you what I'm using. Sorry, bear with me. I really should be a little bit more organized when I do these videos, but I just like to film and ramble and post. No fancy intros, no fancy sound effects, just film it and get it up there. Right, there we go. So what I'm doing for this is a number of things. So first of all, I'm getting a tool. I don't know what this tool is called, but basically, I can get this on camera, a little tool like this, which has got a sharp point. What I'm doing with that is on the windows themselves, and a bit like some, what they do in woodworking sometimes when they're drilling holes, is I'm punching a little bit of an indentation into the window, top and bottom here. Little bit of an indentation to push this into the plastic to mark where the drill bit is going to go in. So a little push like that, and it gives you two little indentations, top and bottom. Very hard to see this on camera. See if it can focus in. It's not going to, but you kind of get the idea. You can just about make it out there where I've punched it there. Two tiny little indentations. The reason for that is that when you get the drill bit in place, what can often happen when you're drilling, either with a rotary tool or with a hand tool, is that once you start to rotate the drill to drill the opening, the drill bit can drift. It can drift up, it can drift off to the side, up and down as you're trying to drill it in. And that creates then what I call the little banana effect window. You get a little oval shaped window. So to stop that, by punching that little hole into there or making that little indentation, it kind of locks the drill bit in place. So that when you start to rotate the drill bit, sorry, I'll get this into focus. When you rotate the drill bit, it doesn't drift. It doesn't end up drifting, and so you end up coming out the window making a mistake. So of course, that's the first stage. Next stage then is using a little pin vise like this with a appropriately sized drill bit. Drill out the holes. As you can see, two have been done there. Once that's done, I then flip the model over using my little rotary tool here. This is a good little tool. It's a battery powered rotor tool, 3 push button, 3 speed settings. The wife got me this one year as a birthday present. I absolutely love this tool. It's rechargeable battery on it. The socket's on the bottom, little rechargeable tool. So I'll get this more into camera. Use it all the time, and it's really good to just hold in your hand, no cabling, and work. Using one of these drill bits, it's a case of then drilling out the back of the window to thin the plastic. As you can see, I've done it here on the top. That's quite a thick bit of plastic there, so that took a bit of drilling out. But with this bit that's in the rotary tool, it cut through that quite easily. And of course, being careful not to go all the way through. So once the back of the window has been drilled, it's then over to the careful bit. Sharp hobby knife, thin pointed hobby knife like this, and then going in and literally cutting out from these holes that you've drilled, cutting out this middle wedge of the plastic, and being careful how to do that. Going down, cutting that bit out so that you get it kind of like this. The last stage, once that's done then, and again, the good thing with these thin little knives, you can really get it in there and shave off the size of the window as best you can, being careful with it. The last stage is to take a modeler's file, a little thin round file such as this, and it's a case of get it into the open window, very lightly, just start to file it through, and even run it up in the channel like this to clear it out, clean the window up. Do that on the front side, flip this model over, do it on the back side as well, so get the file in there, just using the very tip of the file, just to file this out, clean it all up and down like that. You can work it up and down, keeping it nice and straight, and so what you end up with is a lovely clean window opening that looks just like that, and that's looking really good. Yeah, so that's going to be the process going forward. Now, okay, some of you might be thinking that's a really time-consuming process. Yes, it is a time-consuming process. You know, window drilling is, just by its pure evilness, is a time-consuming process. But you kind of got to think about this in a pattern. Rather than doing this for every single window, the process I'm going to be following is I'm going to go through the entire kit, all the pieces, and drill all the holes first, like this. Okay, do that for all the windows that are going to be drilled. That's the first stage. The second stage is then to go round, once I've got all the holes drilled, and thin the plastic, and do that all over the model kit. Then it's going back to using the knife on all the windows that have been drilled and the back of them thinned, and then cut them out. Once that's done on all the windows, then it's going around with the file and filing them all out to get them all nice and clean and ready and prepared. So kind of like doing it in a conveyor belt kind of fashion to do that. So that's the window drilling bit. I'm going to make a start on that today. Also, what I did in my experimenting yesterday was down here, I don't know if you can make it out, was I got rid of all these horrible bloody raised panel lines up here. And what I did with that, quite simply, just took another knife tool like this, flat edged, and you can use razor blades or whatever. Just lay this on over the raised area, just very carefully, so you can see I'm just laying it flat as I can be, and literally just cutting and shaving off these panel lines. You can see it's going like that. I'll demonstrate it on this bit. You know, just lay it in, just keep rubbing it over. Be careful with it, try and lay it as flat as you can onto the actual plastic, and that has kind of got rid of that raised line already straight away. Once that's done, where is it? I'm then using a bit of 2500 grit wet dry sandpaper, wet the paper and wet sand the plastic. Again, not going nuts with it, and so that smooths it all out like this. And to get it nice and smooth, you've kept all the window detail here, okay, because you haven't gone too vigorous with the sanding or had too coarse a grit sandpaper. So wet sand, very fine sandpaper, nice and smooth, and that's already ready to be processed. Last thing I did then as an experiment was took my my scribe tool. So a lot of modelers have these from Tamiya, and I've just gone over the panel lines in here, these little panel lines, with the scribe tool, and just very lightly just re-scribed them out a little bit. Went over each line about 2 or 3 times. Didn't push the tool in, didn't push the tool into the line. I just laid the tool into the groove there and just lightly went over it, just to channel that out a bit more, just to make those lines a bit cleaner as they come out. And you can kind of see, or hopefully you can see the difference, although I'm not filming this very well. You can see the difference now between that line and that line over here. That one's looking, yes, it's a tiny bit deeper, but it's looking a lot cleaner than that. So that's the other stage to do as well, is go through all the panel lines where they need to be on the kit and just scribe them out a little bit more, just to make them a little bit cleaner for when we get ready to actually prime and paint the whole thing. So there we go. So that's what I've been doing this weekend. Bit of experimentation on this bit to get the process and to figure out what's going to happen for preparing the plastic kit, but mainly focusing on the electronic side of it to get this phaser firing sequence working and with the sound effect. Of course, there's more work, as I've mentioned, to come with the electronic sides, and that's then going back to this sketch and using the sketches that Trevor over at Ostrich Longnecks has clearly or kindly put together over the years and shared publicly, to get the full sketch and all the lighting effects up and working, ready for installation. and then it's over to the kit itself and start, you know, with all the window drilling and all the sanding and all that kind of thing, and getting all that prepared. I'm still in the process of trying to source some photo etch sets. Sadly, I can't find anywhere here in the UK yet for doing the green strawberry kits, and there's no way I'm buying that off their website. Because, you know, they've clearly said on their website that because of Brexit and trade deals and all that kind of thing, the minimum order has to be $220, and there's no way I'm spending that much money just for a photo etch set. So I don't know. I'm still trying to source that locally here in the UK. And aside from a few other bits and pieces, it's from this point now, it's just full steam ahead. Let's get it cracking. Let's get it cracking. What I'll probably do today, as I've mentioned now, I'm going to spend the rest of the day. I'm going to have a break from the electronic side because I've been working on this now, you know, for the last 2 days, and even this morning. So I'm going to have a break from this. Let all the information and all the studying that I've learned and all the information process and permeate down through the grey matter for a few days. And I'm just going to go over to the model kit and just start with all the window drilling and the panel line scribing and all that kind of thing. To get started. But there we go, everybody. Sorry for the long video. Sorry for the rambling again. I just wanted to show you where I'm at with this stage and the process going forward for the rest of the kit as we go through. I'll wrap up there again. Sorry for the shaky camera work. Why not? One last one. Go on. Let's plug it in, because again, I could sit here all day and play with this. Let's have it going. Come on. Come on, one more. Yeah, there we go. I love that, with that sound effect playing as well. It's just awesome. There we go. And the sound effect is playing every single time, and it's actually worked in sequence as well with the lights. So really, really happy with that. Chuffed a bit that I was able to do that this morning. Anyway, there we go. That's it from me for today. Everybody take care. Enjoy your week, enjoy your weekend, enjoy your evening, no matter where you are in the world. And I'll be back with you soon, hopefully with another update. And again, appreciate all the likes and the comments on my videos. Please do get in touch. It's always great to hear from other people and other builders within the community to swap ideas and share praise and all that kind of thing. And again, I've been watching other people's videos and you know, and people that do their model kits, all great stuff. I do like to post some comments on other people's videos. You know, it's all good. It's all good stuff that we're all doing. But there we go. Take care, everybody. I'll be back soon with another update. Be safe. Bye-bye.